Can mediums directly dial into the spirit world, picking who to communicate with? Connecting with a specific communicator during a mediumship reading is possible and is entirely within the medium's ability. We will explore the science behind intentional spirit communication, where the medium connects with the spirit communicator the client wants, and the research that supports it. Additionally, we will delve into the history and origins of the belief and practice of the notion that some mediums say they cannot control who comes in. We also look into the ethical and moral considerations of not getting the spirit communicator the client wants, and the best way for you to practice your mediumship based on your personal beliefs and comfort level. Mediumship is inherently a co-creative process because it involves continuous interaction, mutual influence, and shared contributions from the medium, the spirit communicator, and the client. This collaborative dynamic ensures that each session is unique, personalized, and responsive to the needs of participants, leading to a richer and more meaningful experience. As in any profession, mediums must continually develop and refine their skills. This includes enhancing their ability to connect with specific spirits the sitter wants to connect with. However, not all mediumship training is the same, and not all mediums work their practice to do intentional readings. Historically, beliefs, particularly those rooted in spiritualism, have arguably limited mediumship regarding intentional readings. The idea that mediums should not request certain spirit communicators stems from several principles and traditions within spiritualism. These principles were originally communicated through the mediumship of Emma Hardinger Britten in 1871 and have been adapted by various spiritualist organizations. The principle of communion of spirits and the ministry of angels emphasizes the importance of allowing spirits to provide guidance and wisdom as they see fit. Spiritualists assert mediums should not ask for a specific spirit communicator, that summoning specific spirits can disrupt the natural flow of communication, and it is best to allow spirits to come forward voluntarily rather than being summoned specifically. Spiritualists believe spirits choose to communicate based on their readiness, willingness, and timing. This means the process is not entirely under human control. However, there are mediums that do provide intentional readings to clients routinely. So let's explore these beliefs and provide a contemporary evaluation including recent findings and modern research. First, there is no evidence to support the notion that some spirits are more ready and willing to communicate than others. The medium's inability to perform an intentional reading is more likely due to the need for further skill development and training. It could also be based in the perception that it is hard or they can't or taught they shouldn't. For those mediums that want to get the spirit communicator that the client wants, it is a skill like any other skill in mediumship that can be developed. Reevaluating the belief of I can't or I shouldn't might open up new possibilities for a medium's development. However, if you are of the belief that you shouldn't perform an intentional reading, then full transparency and clearly communicating what clients can expect during a session is vital. Expressing this as a spiritualist or personal belief, and not an absolute truth, is also important to ensure they are comfortable with the process and no harm is done to the client. Many mediums provide a service for which clients are paying, often with the expectation of communicating with a particular loved one. Clients have a right to know the limitations of the service being provided, whether based in training, skill, or belief. Clients often look to mediumship for comfort and reassurance from their deceased loved ones. When a connection with a specific loved one in spirit cannot be established, it may deepen the bereaved person's sorrow and potentially complicate their grieving process. There are also various explanations that some mediums provide when they are unable to make a connection, which are not verifiable. Some of these speculative explanations have included: they need to learn to communicate on the other side before a reading can happen. Your loved one is busy on the other side. It has been too soon since their passing to communicate. It has been too long since their passing to communicate. They have reincarnated into another life and they can't communicate right now. They haven't fully transitioned to the other side as of yet, so communicating is difficult now. Unfortunately, there are even instances where some mediums make statements that can be particularly hurtful, such as attributing the lack of connection to the bereaved or the spirit communicator. For example, mediums have told clients they are grieving too much or they must develop their spiritual readiness before successful communication can occur. Mediums have even told clients that their inability to connect was because the spirit communicator just didn't want to connect to them. These explanations are speculative rather than factual. It's important to approach the bereaved with empathy and care. Suggesting that a departed loved one is unwilling to communicate can be deeply hurtful and is not based on verifiable evidence. It is analogous to visiting a doctor because you are experiencing severe headaches. The doctor examines you and decides to run some tests. After the tests, the doctor tells you that they couldn't find anything wrong and blames you for not describing your symptoms correctly or for not having the right mindset for the tests to work. A more supportive approach would be to acknowledge the client's grief and desire for connection while being honest about the medium's own limitations. A client should never leave a mediumship experience feeling as though they were the reason their loved one did not come through, or the spirit communicator didn't want to talk to them. Furthermore, research on after-death communication, ADC, and near-death experiences, NDEs, appears to support the notion that loved ones want to connect and communicate. Many people report spontaneous ADCs where they receive messages of love, reassurance, and guidance from deceased loved ones, even hours after they have passed. For instance, an ADC occurring within a few hours of passing is exemplified by the case of Diane, as documented by the Guggenheims, who wrote the seminal book, Hello from Heaven. Diane experienced a communication on the evening of her father's death. She was lying in bed, heartbroken and crying, when she suddenly saw her father's face. He appeared surrounded by light, looking directly at her with a radiant smile. Although she did not hear any words, she felt a strong sense of comfort and a message from him. Don't be sad. This is wonderful. This experience and many others suggest spirits actively seek to communicate to provide comfort and support. Additionally, a common theme in near-death experiences is the reception of messages that emphasize love, reassurance, interconnectedness, and the continuity of life. These messages frequently contain guidance and encouragement, suggesting that spirits are eager to convey important information to their loved ones. In many NDEs, spirits convey that they are at peace and watching over their family. This desire to alleviate grief and provide emotional healing underscores their wish to maintain communication. One famous NDE was that of Anita Morjani, recounted in the book Dying to Be Me. Morjani was diagnosed with terminal cancer and fell into a coma in 2006. During her coma, she experienced an NDE that profoundly changed her life and perspective on death and the afterlife. Anita encountered her deceased father and best friend who had passed away earlier. Her father specifically communicated that he had always been with her and would continue to be with her. Anita has reported ongoing communication with her deceased loved ones, affirming the message she received during her NDE that they are always with her and available to her. Anita Morjani's NDE provides a powerful testament to the idea that we are always connected to our loved ones in spirit. Her case and NDEs support the idea that spirits genuinely desire to communicate with their loved ones. Mediums can play a crucial role in facilitating this connection. However, they can only facilitate this connection if they are trained to conduct intentional readings, believe in their ability to do so, and are willing to make the effort. There is also research supporting the idea that mediums can conduct intentional readings. In Lynn McTaggart's book, The Intention Experiment, there is evidence in the research that focused intention and attention play a role. McTaggart discusses how directing one's attention and consciousness can shape outcomes. She explores ideas about quantum interconnectedness that could theoretically allow for non-local communication. The concept of consciousness as a field that can be tapped into aligns with how some mediums describe accessing information. To further validate intentional spirit communication, the Winbridge Research Center has conducted studies in which mediums were tasked with obtaining information about specific deceased individuals, referred to as discarnates, using only their first names as prompts. These studies were designed to rigorously test the accuracy of the medium's abilities under controlled conditions. The findings from these studies demonstrated that some mediums could accurately report specific information about the deceased beyond what could be attributed to chance or reasonably obtained through ordinary means. Is it time to update our beliefs with the latest in scientific insights on consciousness? Given the advancements in scientific research supporting the possibility of connecting with loved ones who have passed on, perhaps it's time to reconsider some of our long-held beliefs that originated in earlier eras. While respecting traditional perspectives, we might benefit from exploring how modern understanding can complement or refine our views on this deeply personal topic. In the same way that the telegraph revolutionized early communication, we now have more advanced and efficient methods of connecting with one another. At the time, the telegraph allowed people to send messages over long distances using Morse code. However, the process was slow, required specialized knowledge to encode and decode messages, and was limited in conveying complex information. In contrast, modern communication technology like smartphones has transformed how we connect with others. Smartphones allow instant, clear, and direct communication with anyone, anywhere, at any time. They use advanced technology to ensure that messages are delivered accurately and efficiently. Like the smartphone era, modern mediumship leverages new understandings from fields like consciousness studies, ADC research, NDE research, and now quantum theories. Just as the transition from telegraphs to smartphones revolutionized communication by making it more efficient, precise, and user-friendly. The shift from old-fashioned mediumship to modern practices aims to provide clearer, more direct, and personalized connections with specific spirit communicators. As we consider the evolving understanding of human connections, it's worth reflecting. Are we potentially limiting mediumship experiences by adhering to traditional beliefs that may no longer align with current knowledge? Thank you for joining and exploring the fascinating world of intentional mediumship readings. And if you're curious to learn more, check out the next video where we dive deeper into mediumship. Let's continue this journey together, embracing the possibilities that mediumship can offer. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future content.